Good morning. Welcome to Cooking with Kim. It is morning here in Michigan. It's a cold morning and we are going to be making potato soup today. So I have gone ahead and I started the potatoes. I cut them into small pieces. I peeled them and cut them and put them in a pan, just barely covering them with water. Now, you want to cover them with cold water and cook them on medium-high until you can pierce them with a fork. I've also gone ahead and started some sausage that I'm going to add to the potato soup. And you can use bacon, you can use ham, you can use nothing if you're a vegetarian. But the pork really does help to flavor the soup. So this morning I have a very special guest with us. Her name is Susan Crawford. You might have seen my show where we were doing the fruit pizza, and her boys, Harley and Harvey, they're twins, they were on our show. And today the mom is going to come. So Susan's going to come and share with us some amazing events that have taken place in her life. Today on the show, I would like to introduce to you my good friend Susan Crawford. Hi. Her boys were on our show, like I said, a few series back, making fruit pizza and telling about an amazing time that they had in heaven. And Susan has an awesome story that she's going to share with us. But first I want to tell you that I'm chopping up some onions here. Can we try to place this for just really quick? Yeah. And so we have the potatoes started and we have the sausage, which is cooked and crumbled right here in the pan. Now, potato soup is not an exact science, okay? It's not like making bread, which isn't really an exact science either. It's kind of more to taste. So I'm adding a half of an onion here and I'm just chopping it up. And I tasted my sausage. It's fairly spicy. So I don't think I'm going to add anything else. If I was going to add something else, I would add some garlic probably. Or maybe some green peppers. If you want to chop those up, you can fry them in the frying pan and throw those in the soup. You can also cook your potatoes in milk if you want, or in some kind of stock, like chicken stock, if you really want a spicy. But I'm not going to cook my potatoes in milk because I'm going to use mashed potatoes to thicken the potatoes. Only if I was going to take half of the potatoes out of the pan and make them into mashed potatoes would I actually cook them in milk. But you certainly can do that. So I'm going to fry these up, and while these are frying and the potatoes are cooking, Susan is going to share with us the most amazing trip to heaven that I've ever heard of. Maybe you have a better one, but this is amazing.
So probably about 2 falls ago, not last fall, but the fall before, about early October, I had my sister Anita over and her children, which was Brad and Will and Davion, and my 2 daughters and their husbands were there, Heather, Hannah, and Lawrence and Jared, and then of course two of my boys were there. And you know, Bradley kind of flipped out a little bit because Lawrence carries a gun. And so, like, fear just, whoa.
So he has a permit to carry that gun, right?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
He has a permit.
That works for me.
Anyway, so we just kind of took him through a little deliverance, you know, set him free from that fear.
Right,
you know?
right.
And you could really feel the presence of God. Like we knew that this was what God wanted to do. Everybody that was standing around and just praying for Brad. And the next thing I know is that the presence got even stronger. And Heather, who was crying, looked at me and said, he needs to sing his favorite song, his favorite praise song. And I said, well, tell him. And so she said, Brad, sing your favorite praise song. And he began to sing Jesus, Lover of My Soul.
Oh, I love that song.
And he just, when he began singing, the illumination of God in the room was just almost where you couldn't even stand. Bradley could not stand. In fact, we had to put a chair under him so he could sit. And the next thing we know, we are all elevated into a place that was not my kitchen anymore. And we were all seeing the same thing.
What were you seeing?
Well, we were all in like park area. Very beautiful, very beautiful. Bradley kept saying, I see you, I see you, I see you, just bawling his eyes out. And he said, I kept saying, Brad, what do you see, what do you see? And he said, I see Grandma, she's swimming in that stream. But it was like, almost like a wide, you know. River, yeah, it was big. And it was so clear, now I could see this, it was so clear that you could see the fish and all the rocks and it was pure clear, like it didn't even look real, but it was. And I seen her and I'm standing there and Brad says, I see you, I see you, I see you. And it was like these fishes were jumping over her, kind of like dolphins would, if you went swimming with dolphins, you know. But they were fish, all kinds of beautiful fish. And she just kind of waved at us like, hey, how you doing? Like, we haven't even been separated, you know? And we were all crying.
So your mom
passed away.
When?
2007.
And so she's in heaven.
She's in heaven.
And you were all there seeing her.
We were all seeing her. So the next thing I know, I see my son-in-law's dad.
Oh.
And he passed away, I hope I'm saying it right, about 3 years ago. And it was wild because he drove up in a gold, like, sports car.
That's cool.
Gold. It was, and Jared seen it, I seen it. I don't know, because everybody was crying too, so not everybody was speaking. And I said, Jared, I see your dad in a gold sports car. And he said, I see it, I see it. And he got out and walked up to Jared and put his hands on his shoulders like this. He said, I'm okay. Everything's all right.
Praise God.
And it was like a release to him.
That, was concerned about his dad?
Yeah, he was concerned about his dad. And, you know, because his dad battled a lot of things. But it was then that he was able to release that feeling.
His death.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
It was wild. So, Lawrence, who, if you know my son-in-law Lawrence, I rarely see him really pray. I'm sure he does, but he's not very like spiritual minded. He don't really talk.
I've never seen him dance or raise his hands even in church, nothing.
He doesn't.
He runs the sound and catches people, makes sure everything goes well.
Yeah, and he stays Maine. But here he is, bawling his eyes out. And I look over at him and I see his dad and his aunt, who they passed away real close together.
Wow.
And they came walking toward him.
Wow.
Just to say, we're okay.
Yeah.
We're okay.
Yeah.
Amazing thing when, you know, I don't know if Lawrence was unsure about his aunt or his dad, but the thing of it is that he knows without a doubt now.
Right, right.
Then all of a sudden my sister Anita starts saying, she's weeping and just saying, Jesus, Jesus, and here comes Jesus walking up to us.
Oh.
And you know, you think when you stand in front of Jesus you could have a billion things to talk about. But you are so illuminated and so excited that every thought or any question that you have just leaves. It's like everything's gone. And
fun of mine.
And so she was like hugging him, literally, like even with her own arms, like just hugging him, and she was set free from a lot of things. In fact, this year, my sister has already lost about 40 pounds.
Wow.
Maybe 50 now, but she is very strong, stronger than I've ever seen her.
Huh. Wow.
And I seen that slow. From that point on, I have seen her get stronger and stronger and stronger. It really changed her life, literally.
Praise God.
All three of my boys seen plants and flowers, and we all seen it, but for young kids to see that,
Yeah.
and say, yeah, we seen it, and can describe the plants, like green is greener than green.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I mean, I love green, but this green you can't find here.
No,
You
I
can't.
know what you mean.
The colors you
It's
cannot.
like, oh, wow.
The flowers, there's beautiful, beautiful flowers, but the thing of it is you can touch them if you walk by. If they're facing the opposite direction, they turn toward you.
Yes.
Like they want you to touch them.
Yeah.
It's like really everything is living. I mean, we have plants that are living, but in heaven, you know they're living.
One time I was in heaven and I was walking with the Lord just arm in arm, and we kind of walked down this sort of a fence row kind of deal, and there was a great big tree, huge tree, and I could see like life going up and down the bark, you know.
Wow.
And the Lord, I can't remember what he said, but he said something to me about the tree, and we walked by it, and he opened this gate, and we walked through this gate and kept strolling, and I, for some reason, turned back to look at the tree again, and when I did, the entire tree had twisted all the way around just to be able to watch Jesus a little longer.
Yes.
It was so cool.
It was amazing. I seen that, but it was more with the flowers,
Yeah.
the bushes. You could really tell that they were alive.
Yes, everything is alive.
Everything
in
yes.
heaven is alive.
My friend Nikki had